Welcome to a very special edition of the UPIKE Sports Network. We are sitting here with head bowling coach Kyle Wilson for the men's program and director of bowling Bobby Brown. We are here at the SportsPlex, beautiful 10-lane facility that the Bears now call home. Before we get into talking about the men's team and their success, talk about this facility.
I don't know where to start. It's amazing. We're totally blessed. It's one of those things that a lot of schools dream of, and our dreams came true.
It's been a game changer for the entire program. Just what it allows us to do, we can come in here anytime we want. We don't have to adhere to a private business. Nothing against where we were at, but this just opened so many doors for us. Recruiting is off the charts this year.
So talk about the different parts of it, the experience that you guys can control, the oil patterns. You talked about when you practice, and also the recruiting aspect, being able to take a student athlete in here and say, hey, this is where you get to practice, this is where you get to develop. What's been the biggest key factor that this has played in your guys' success?
I believe that it's one of those things that the student athlete can come in at any point in time of the day and get help with their game from coaches. I mean, our coaching staff is one of the best in the country. I would put my hands up against between our assistant coaches, our GAs, and everything else. The athletes have a place to come to. It's kind of like their own place away from campus to come in, do homework, practice, hang out, whatever it is.
The training tools we have here with Specto on 6 lanes gives us a lot of data that we can help to fine-tune people's games. We have the Torch and the Strike Seeker software as well. So these training tools we didn't really use too much up at the other place, but now they're hardwired in here.
Talk about some of the specific things that those things allow you to do, because I know the technology is super in-depth.
I don't want to get too technical, but rev rate and what boards you hit at the arrows, where your feet are at the foul line when you slide, where the ball is at the arrows to the break point, what angle you're entering the pocket. There's just so much data in there. It's like, what, 30
categories.
30 different categories.
So, of course, both the men's and women's program have been historically successful here at UPIKE. We recently did kind of a leadership restructure, making Bobby Brown the director of bowling. You stay the head coach of the women's program, while Kyle is the head coach of the men's program. And Andrew Dukowski moved from graduate assistant to assistant coach for both programs. Talk a little bit about how that leadership structure has brought the programs together.
I think it's always going to be a work in progress. You know, we have so many ideas and so many things going forward. I think, you know, we're going to continue to get better every single week, every single day, because we have the same goals in mind. You know, it's developing student athletes, you know, student first, athlete second. It's about getting kids that want to be here successful, you know, and I think that's our whole goal, is like developing student athletes. And we have usually weekly coaches meetings that kind of outline what we're going to do it's a week, it's a month, it's whatever else. But the goal is still in mind. You know, we set an organizational goal of doing X, Y, Z and seeing how much success we can get.
So now let's get into the nitty-gritty. The men's bowling program ranked 3rd in the country. That is the highest ranking in program history. You guys have won 5 of 7 tournaments. You obviously have one of the leading bowlers in the country in Bryce Oliver, and several bowlers who have made tremendous improvement this season. Coach, talk a little bit about the success you guys have been able to have, and what's the next step?
Well, you know, we're just full of talent right now. Best team that I've ever had on the lanes. They're dedicated, focused. They come in here outside of practice time, put their time in on the lanes. I'm just blessed to have them. I mean, I can't say enough about these guys. We have, of course, Bryce, who's been player of the week in the conference I think five times. I lost count how many times it's been. We have Chris LeSueur, who qualified for Junior Team USA this past summer up in Michigan. Ben Bailey, Wesley Yazell, Dylan Mishak, Mateo Cittadino, Ryan Taylor, Eli Mayberry, freshman. Got 2 lefties. Bryce and Eli are usually in the lineup because they get on top of each other and they can break down the lane together. And I think that's kind of helped Bryce a little bit too, just because he usually was the only left-hander on the pair. So
at any given tournament, you have a plethora of guys who can finish in the top 10, top 5, and maybe even pull out a win from time to time. It is worth mentioning Bryce Oliver also leads the country in total wins this season. Talk about what's coming up for you guys, and you both can talk about this. We're getting around the halfway point of the season. From here on out, it's big ones.
Yeah, and for us, we're leaving Sunday to go to Allentown, PA for 2 Tier 1 events. Um, we're just getting ready to kick off the next semester for us. We have a little break for Christmas, going into the new year. Then we come back and go to another Tier 1 in Chicago. Then we kind of wrap up the conference events, and we get ready for postseason.
They're getting better every tournament. The things that they have accomplished this season, I haven't experienced too often in the previous 18 years that I've been here. So they've worked hard. They continue to get better every day. They're smart. They understand the equipment. And I want to just say something about our pro shop that we have here. We have a full pro shop that Andrew Dukowski, our assistant coach for both programs, he's been a game changer for us. Him and Bobby are kind of the equipment experts. I handle the lane machine, put the patterns in the machine, and get the lanes taken care of. It's just, I'm excited to see what this team can do. Coming into 2 Tier 1s, double ranking points. I don't put out, rankings are great for recruiting. I don't want to harp too much on that, but we're currently third, and we have 1 Tier 1 in, and the teams in front of us have 3 Tier 1s. So those double points there. That's kind of a decent sign for us that, if we can come away in Allentown with 2 good performances, we're going to be in great shape heading into the second half of the season.
What do you think is the one piece of development you still need to see from this team and able to pull it all the way through? You guys will have the NAI Invitational coming up, hopefully USBC team qualifying coming up towards the end of the season. What's the one piece of this that you still need to develop or you think you need to see out of these guys to go all the way?
I mean, to be honest with you, they're showing me everything right now and improving every time. So, we had our first Tier 1 wasn't a great thing. We finished 5th in Atlanta. We didn't bowl that good. I thought, we'd be worse than that, but we ended up getting away with 5th. So we're looking to improve with the 2 Tier 1s up in Allentown next week.
Bobby, talk a little bit about what's the overall goal. You seeing both teams still very involved with the women's team as the head coach, and Andrew's taken on a lot of responsibility as well. What's the organizational goal moving forward, not just the end of the season, but 5 years from now? Where is UPIKE bowling?
I think what our goal is as a group is to make this one of the elite programs in the country. We have the facility, we have the coaches, we have everything that we really need, and it's one of those things now, it's like every sport does the same thing. You try to push the envelope, and, winning's great and everything else, but, looking at our main goal, graduating student athletes, yes, we want to win titles, we want to win tournaments, we want to do all those things, but it's always a pleasure, and Kyle can note this too, is like seeing players 5, 6, 10 years down the road and what they're doing and how their successes are, and learning from the process of being a part of this. And I think, with the restructure of everything that we've done here, it's us learning too, is because we've pretty much been a program that, the guys and girls were kind of, separated, but we still did things together. But now it's kind of getting the same goals in mind. And, Kyle has done a great job with the guys and, winning 5 tournaments already. That's the most in program history. The sky's the limits. And, what I like to see from the guys is them strive for excellence. They go in, week out, and they're always a factor. And, most of them want to learn more things. If it's equipment-wise, if it's bowling ability, if it's different things. And it's the same with the girls. The girls are the same way. It's like they want to come in, they want to get better, they want to, learn about the game and stuff like that. And I think that's what we've done so far. And I think we just keep pushing it to that point where we're one of the elite programs in the country, and they look at us and they go, well, Pikeville has to be my number 1 choice. So that's what we're trying to do.
If you had one takeaway that you want student athletes, recruits, the community, fans, everyone alike that pays attention to this program, pays attention to UPIKE athletics, what do you want them to know about this program?
I believe what I would like to see them know about this program is the support of the university and the athletic department to bowling. There's a lot of places around here that have bowling programs, and they're always, I came from a program that was pretty good, and we weren't even defined in our school. We've had the president come to events, the athletic director come to events, and the support that we get through and through, I think is amazing to me. And for recruits, there's no better place on the planet with the help that you get from faculty members, the president, all the way through every department. It's amazing for bowlers.
Yeah, on the academic side of things, the school just has a lot of tools in place to ensure student success. The Center of Academic Excellence, if we have any players that are struggling in classes, they can go get free tutoring, get free help and stuff like that. And that helps out a lot because they're students first, athletes second. I mean, and all students have to carry a 2.0 or higher and have X amount of credit hours in order to be eligible. And if they don't do that, then they can't bowl.
And I think a lot of coaches have echoed that same sentiment, that the university strives to constantly give resources to student athletes, whether they need the help or whether they're willing to help other student athletes. There's channels and avenues to help them help other people and help them get better, not only academically but athletically and as a person as well. Let's shift gears from talking about bowling. There's been a lot of changes in the athletic department over the past few years. We've made a lot of exciting announcements: the purchase of this building, archery, wrestling's in here, as well as golf, and of course the bowling center. We are purchasing Bear Mountain in the works, building brand new facilities. We've made a lot of new hires, given coaches a lot of new resources. How exciting is it to be a part of that?
It's very exciting for me. I just hope that they can get Bear Mountain done before I retire.
That's true, yes.
And I'm sure they'd want to get it done as soon as possible too, but there's probably a lot of money to be raised for that project. But they're optimistic they're going to be playing football up there in the fall. So
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
I really hope it does.
It's exciting to see what's happening. When I tell other people about what's going on here in UPIKE, just with the athletic department, it doesn't go on at every school. Absolutely does not. So.
And, for me, I've only been around here for about 7 years, and between the university changes, the athletic department changes, and everything else that's going on here, the adding of wrestling and the growth that's going on and, the support that's going on, like Kyle said, you don't see it everywhere. You don't.
It's bar none. All right, well, that'll wrap it up for Coach Brown and Coach Wilson. We will come back with Coach Andrew Dukowski here on the UPIKE Sports Network. Welcome back. Joining me here on the UPIKE Sports Network, graduate assistant coach Brianna Clemmer and assistant coach Andrew Dukowski. Andrew recently named the assistant coach after serving as a graduate assistant. We just talked to Coach Brown and Coach Wilson about the growth of this program, the addition of the SportsPlex, and the success of the men's team. What's your guys' takeaway? How much has this facility meant to you and the programs moving forward?
It's been an absolute honor to be a part of this and coming in. This is going to be year 3 for me, and being able to see this actually built from scratch has been awesome, and it helps so much with these kids coming in, practicing every day, being able to work hard at a craft that they absolutely love and they want to come be a part of, and the historic of this program being around for 20-plus years now. It's been an absolute honor to see what's going on here.
Brianna, you're kind of new to the program. Talk about coming into a situation like this.
Yeah, it's awesome that we have our own facility. We're definitely grateful for that, and being able to see these kids change from August and develop into different players now, it's awesome to see, and being able to take a step into the coach role for me is completely different, but, we're progressing and we're getting better each day.
What's the one thing you guys have worked on the most? The men's team has obviously had unprecedented success, ranked 3rd in the country, the highest all time. You guys have a role kind of in both teams. Let's talk about how you balance that, working with the women's team and the men's team at the same time.
Right now, it's basically there really is no balance. It's trying to work with them as much as we can at all times that we can. We practice at the same time sometimes, and it's basically bouncing back and forth with them. And normally we work on the same things on both teams. So it's basically repeating what we're doing with the girls, with the guys, and vice versa. So they're learning almost the same exact thing when we're at our practices.
Yeah, I agree. Just being able to work with him as much as possible within our schedules. And when we practice at the same time, just making sure we go to every person when we can. We have a lot of coaching staff this year, which is good. We can reach every kid. But when they come in extra time, it's easier for us to work with them that way as well. So we just have to be able to work with them as much as we can.
Do you feel like that meshing together of the programs, those practices together, and having more coaching resources, do you feel like that's helped the culture and helped the togetherness of the program?
Yeah, absolutely. We basically are building a brand new culture here, and it's a very good change in culture. And the mesh between the guys and the girls team has been phenomenal this year, and I can't wait to see where it goes next semester and the next couple tournaments coming up. And it's a full-blown blast off right now.
Brianna, you're a former Division I athlete, correct?
Division II.
Division II athlete, but yeah, you've had a lot of success in bowling. You
Yeah.
can talk a little bit about that. So you're definitely not new to this world. And how does this stack up to compared to other programs that you've seen in places that you've been?
We have a very unique program, and I think that when we start to work together, it becomes even better, and that just gives us a one-up on other programs. And I think that with them, if they continue to work together and put in the hard work that they have been, postseason will be as successful.
Let's talk about what's coming up down the road. You guys are about to play in 2 back-to-back Tier 1 events, and then you get into the spring, February, March. You guys are going to be getting into the NAIA National Championships as well as USBC. Hopefully we have a couple qualifiers individually and hopefully have 2 qualifiers in the ITC team events. Talk about what's the next step in development. How do you continue on in this success?
Right now, it's just building on what we've been building on since September and just fine-tuning every day they come in and making sure equipment's right and things like in that nature, and just building them as a person, growing as a human. And it's just building blocks for them to basically reach their goals at the end of the year, going on to next year in school or graduating in life and things like that. So it's just building a person and building their character, basically.
Yeah, I agree. Just, working on those small successes and feeding off those small successes that will eventually turn into a bigger success. We're just preparing these young men and women for life and outside of bowling and with bowling as well. So we just have to keep on working on that with them.
And it seems like the entire coaching staff is on the same page. Well, that'll just about do it. Thank you, Coach Klemmer, Coach Stukowski, for joining us. We'll be back with a handful of bowlers here on the UPIKE Sports Network.
Well, thank you, bud.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the UPIKE Sports Network. I'm here with men's bowlers Bryce Oliver, junior, and Wesley Yazell, sophomore. You guys kind of introduce yourselves, talk about the season so far and the success of the men's program.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And this has been an amazing year. It really has. I've been here, it's my 3rd year here, and I have not seen this program win that much ever. Like, we have won almost every tournament, and most of them have not been close. And I think it's all about how we do what we do here, and it really is, like, our practice really coming out during tournaments because we're practicing so much more. It's for a purpose. It's not just the practice. What do you think?
Yeah, last year was we practiced a lot. We didn't have the most focused practice, and I feel like the opening of the SportsPlex really has, done wonders for us. Like, we have great focused practices, and we've really been working hard this year. I think our team chemistry is something that has really affected it the most. We've always been good friends. We've always been good buddies, and I feel like this year we've pulled together as brothers really close. And, especially it shows on the lanes, like the hard work we've all been putting in. Every single person's in here, even outside of practice times, practicing. And it's definitely shown on the lanes so far this year.
Like, we're definitely family-oriented this year. It's not like a bunch of individuals coming to practice. We're all family-oriented. We all get along. There's no, bad blood on the team. When all 24 of us get together, it's a really, really fun time because you've got so many personalities coming together, but it's nothing bad. Like, there's never bad blood. And in the years past, the team has been divided.
Sure.
And, my freshman year, it was pretty divided between upperclassmen and the freshmen because there was 8 of us that came in, and, a couple of us didn't really feel welcomed, me included. But this year, it's, me being an upperclassman, I've really just wind in all of, the freshmen and the sophomores to be I'm not here to think I know everything because I have, seniority. We're here just be one big family.
Yeah, and I think when you can create a perfect storm of not only having that talent, but you guys all being that close friendship, holding each other down, how much do you think that's a testament to not only the facility, but to the coaching staff resources you guys have, like the restructure of having Andrew as an assistant for both programs, Bobby's looking at the big picture, directing both programs, and you guys are still with longtime coach Kyle Wilson. How has that affected the program?
I think it's affected it tremendously. We've always respected Kyle. We've always had good times with Kyle. He still does an amazing job. And I think having Bobby just right behind him, sort of guiding us, having Andrew on the sidelines, and especially with Bree Klemmer this year, we have so much coaching behind us. We do some team prayers every now and then. I always make sure to reiterate that we have so much wisdom behind us, and it's crazy. We have experience from college bowling through Andrew and Bree, as of recent years, so they're more up to date with how things go currently. And Bobby has had so much experience. Kyle has so much experience, been coaching for 20 plus years. So we make sure to reiterate and thank our coaches very much for how much they help us.
But it's kind of crazy because I say this to people like at tournaments because Bobby has said it. Like we have probably the best coaching staff in the country because we have 5 coaches.
Yeah.
Like we have like a volunteer assistant that comes in every now and then. We have 5 coaches for 2 teams. Nobody has that.
And a facility.
And a facility. Nobody has this either on the guy side. Like we see the women's teams like NCAA, they have their own facilities, but like on the guy side, this is unheard of. And the fact that we got to put this together in such a short period of time so we can get more of like the younger generation in so they can keep this train going when all of us are gone.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really, really fun run the next like few years.
Do you feel like you're playing a role in making bowling at the collegiate level more mainstream and more attractive?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Like at always, you know, if you see there's youth bowlers everywhere keep up with college bowling, and if they see a local team like us I'm from Lexington, so there's a lot of bowling going on in that area, and a lot of kids are interested. I know of a couple kids who have already committed to here from Lexington next year. Like they keep up with it, especially in the local areas around in the state. So I think we do play a pretty big, you know, influential role in collegiate bowling and the upcoming youth.
And I think we do that too in my region because on the adult side, like my city is where the Professional Bowlers Association was created.
Wow.
And like bowling was really big in my area when my dad was in high school. But now the adult scene's really slow and the youth scene, kind of like after my generation, is starting to go away. But ever since like people are starting to know that college bowling's a thing and it's big. It's really big.
It's a big deal.
It's a really big deal, and I really wanted it. Like coming here, I was told that like the bowling program is like the main sport, and I kind of didn't believe it until I got on campus.
Same. It is my job to cover these sports, and I came in and I had experience covering bowling to a smaller degree. But of course, you know, I had done the traditional sports like baseball, softball, football, basketball, and all that stuff. Bowling, when you get here, is like Kentucky basketball is to Kentucky, and it's like you guys are the marquee, and it was really exciting because I mean I had to learn all these things, all the ins and outs, and then they're like, hey, we're going to build a SportsPlex, and hey, our teams are competing for national titles. We have bowlers who are nationally ranked, and you yourself now. It's really fun to watch, and it's a whole different world. Like I want you guys to kind of talk a little bit about like what's it like at bowling tournaments. I know, but people may not know. What's it like?
Yeah, I mean,
You go first.
yeah, being involved with high school sports, and coming from a college bowling family, my brother bowled in college. He's about 8 years older than me, so I got to watch him. He was actually coached by Bobby at Moorhead, and it's a different scene. You know, you've got 80 lane bowling centers that are being filled with hundreds of teams. You know, in the 100 range of teams on girls and guys sides. And, you know, everyone has their own cheers. We're all screaming back and forth, you know, getting excited. It's a very, you would think it's just, you know, throwing a ball down the lane, you know, come back, strike, give your high fives. But no, you know, each guy on our team has their own special cheer for after they strike. Whenever we string strikes, you know, we've got our own cheers. It's a whole process that we all have put in our mind now for our cheers. And it's like that for every team. Everyone has their own cheers. We get very excited. So it is a crazy environment. If you ever come to a bowling alley during collegiate tournament, it is a crazy environment.
It's fun.
I compare it to college softball because of like the dugouts. They have their own chants for the dugouts. We have that, and it's for like 6 hours straight.
Yep.
And I remember one of Sheck from Ace got invited to come to the Cincinnati tournament, and he got to see it firsthand, and he's like, it's just, it's all the time. I'm like, yes, and it gets bigger and bigger as the season goes on because the tournaments get bigger and the teams get better. So, and he got to witness, like the video of me shooting 300.
Yeah.
That is the most insane video I have ever seen of college bowling.
It puts you there. And it's an iPhone video, too. It's not like even produced. It's just like in that moment.
It's
That's
raw.
What makes,
Yeah, I ran out on the approach. We were lucky to be on the end pair. Bryce ran out the shot to the left, and, you know, the whole team followed him onto the approach. I picked him up. It was crazy. But
like, I remember a couple of our JV bowlers was in the crowd, and I had the front 10. And I looked at it, and I'm like, everybody. And they're like, what? And I'm like, if I shoot 300, I want this to be remembered.
Yeah.
And, like, not just for me individually.
Right.
I want it to be me, like, us as a team. And when I shot 300, like, the whole program just went nuts.
Oh, they did, yeah.
and it was insane.
That video was awesome. It was one of our most watched things on Facebook too. Like we've gone around, we've taken videos like this, we've produced like hype videos, but that moment with that iPhone, just like the emotion of the team, obviously the skill involved in shooting a perfect game, it's just unreal. And I remember last season I went to my first tournament. I went to Las Vegas to the Las Vegas Shootout in Glen Carlson. You guys ended up winning the tournament bracket in the Glen Carlson, which was awesome, by the way. But I had never seen, I had no idea there'd be so many people that flew to Las Vegas or drove or wherever they were from to watch these teams. And like you said, there was like 100 teams there. I mean, and I can't remember how many there were on each side, but it was like 50 or 60 lanes, or was it more than that?
I think it was 30. It was a 60-lane center.
Okay, so like 30 some on each side.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
And the crazy part about that is the mecca of bowling. There's 2 bowling centers like that. There's something called MBS, the National Bowling Stadium in Reno. It's 4 times as big as that.
That one blew my mind. I mean, that one was cool. We almost the Bowl TV was supposed to do a live stream, but they lost some equipment on the flight or whatever. So I was able to like try to live stream it, which I had never done before. But it was awesome to like follow you guys. And if you guys have never been to a bowling tournament or watched it or been involved with this team at all, I would highly recommend it because it is an absolute blast. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about before we get off here? Talk about what's coming up.
Yeah.
I think the rest of the season, the more we've moved on, the harder we've worked. The more we've won, the harder we've worked. So I don't think we're going to slow down at any point. I think it's only up from here at this point. We've got 2 really big tournaments coming up in the next week.
Only 3, because we got 3
Oh, yeah,
tier 1s in a row.
We go to Chicago a couple weeks after
Wow.
that. So those are 3 tier 1s in a row.
So we have like 6 times the ranking points in the next 3 tournaments.
That's big.
And it's pretty much going to like shape our season, because that's what happened in Vegas last year. When we got out of Vegas, we were the 5th ranked team in the country because we won 1 tournament and then we led qualifying for the next one. So we got double points plus the win. And then January and December shape your season, because then it's full steam ahead, because we have 1 more conference tournament left, and then it's 3 of the biggest tournaments a year right after that. Like, it's just going to keep going, and I don't think we're stopping. I really don't think we are.
Does it feel good that you guys are ranked higher than Tennessee Southern in the Mid-South Conference rankings? Was that a thing going in? Because I know Tennessee Southern has been the other mecca in the Mid-South.
Yeah.
They've creeped up the last few years and been good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good.
They are really good, and I saw that firsthand freshman year when they were still Martin Methodist at Nationals, and like we faced them in the bracket. We're in the winners bracket. We win this next match. We're 2 matches away from TV, and they beat the brakes off of us. And everyone was like, "What just happened?" And I'm like, "That team is good.
Yeah.
Like that team is really good." And then it only took us 2 seasons to catch up.
Yeah.
Because
I think they have a good coach behind them. Like they're
They got a
hard
PBA Hall of
workers,
Famer behind
and
them.
we've come closer with those guys. We bowl with them a lot. They're in our conference. They're one of the biggest teams out there. We're constantly on pairs with them, and we've heard Bree Clemmer is friends with one of the kids on their team, and he was talking, and he was like, "Man, we should be scared of Pikeville this year." So I think they are a little frightened. We've put in the work, and we're definitely up there. They've been trying, grinding. They beat us at 1 tournament this year.
That's your only loss in conference.
Yeah, I was by 11 pins, too. That was the last game when Bryce shot 300. We went into that game saying,
We
let's
need a
put it
bunch.
all out on the lanes. Like, we were behind 100-something, and we caught up a lot. So, I think we're definitely up there with them. We're definitely working hard, just as hard as them, I'm sure. And it's going to be interesting to see how it comes down into the end of the season towards Mid-South Conference Championships. It should be very fun.
Because we haven't won a regular season title in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the conference tournament because that's kind of all shaping itself. But, like, I really want the regular season banner because that means we beat everybody, and then we just get to go in to the conference tournament.
Yeah.
Because we haven't won in a long time.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to add another banner to one of these, the
yeah.
many that are in this. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. It's
Thank
been an honor
you.
talking with you. We're
Thank you so
excited to
much.
see what the men's bowling team can do moving forward, and in fact, both programs moving forward, and we'll keep you updated. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.